It's my backyard.
Welcome to episode 18 of Yanking Chains, a podcast where we talk everything endurance. I'm Matt Momont.
I'm Vince Matteo.
And I'm Maria Simone.
And today we have a bunch of race reports because we're back to podcasting after a little hiatus. So Maria has done the Vermont 100 and a sprint triathlon. Not sure which one. Vince has done 2 100s since we last podcasted. The Tahoe Rim Trail
Overachiever.
and Pine to Palm Tree. Oh, Pine to Palm. Oh, Pine to
What did you call it? Pine to what?
Pine to Palm Tree.
Pine to Palm
It's
Fritz.
the Pine to Palm 100.
Palm to forehead.
I've done I did Ironman Wisconsin two weekends ago. So, Maria, let's start. Vermont 100.
I had to clap for all of us.
Oh, yeah, that's been a lot. We have to be out of here in an hour, so let's do this quick.
So real quick, Vermont 100, it was a disaster. My body was, destroyed. I had to take about 4 to 5 weeks of complete and total downtime to get myself back in order, and I'm back on track. That's it. That's my quick recap. But Vermont 100, I was just happy to find the finish line. It was we had a crap ton of fun, John and I, because it was just a hot mess from beginning to end pretty much. Well, the first 2 hours were fine, and then after that it was just it was literally a hot mess the whole time. It was just but we had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot because, when you get to the point where nothing is going right, you just, what else are you going to do? So we stayed super positive, sang a lot of songs, did a lot of skipping. Our pacer was amazing. He honestly, I might have just crawled up in a bush somewhere and gone to sleep if it wasn't for him. But it worked out. It was fine. That's my quick recap. I just want to forget that race.
You got some awesome pictures out of it, too, on a positive note.
We did. We had,
awesome.
Like I said, we had fun. But performance-wise, it was a disaster. But it forced me to really wake up and realize that something has not been right with my body, and I've just been ignoring it. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's just, it kind of all came to a head, and I just had to kind of accept that I needed to force myself to do nothing for a while, which was hard because I got very soft and chubby, and I didn't like that.
Mm.
But
what's 4 weeks for you without doing anything? Is that literally doing nothing?
I took Pace for walks. We went on vacation in Maine for about a week and did some hikes, but easy hiking, nothing aggressive or anything like that. No big summits. But yeah, pretty much nothing.
That's awesome.
Which was really hard to do, honestly. It was harder to do that than to train.
Summer vacation.
Yeah, but I feel the positive side is I feel a bajillion times better. I don't think I realized how tired I was until I wasn't tired anymore. Falling asleep at red lights kind of stuff, sitting in my car, falling asleep at red lights, and just waking up, getting 9-10 hours of sleep, waking up and feeling like I wanted to go right back to bed. I was definitely not healthy for a while there, but I feel so much better now. And I'm trying to find my speed again, and it's been an interesting journey the last couple of weeks. Anyway, that's it.
So you did a sprint?
I did do a sprint triathlon. I did.
Welcome back.
Whoa. I did. It was a little local sprint triathlon. I was actually 4th overall, which was a huge shocker, but it was a local triathlon, right? I mean, come on. If I'm 4th in a sprint, that's not right. That's not happening. But it was fun. The run was actually on trails, which I loved. It was really cool. The swim was fun. The bike was pretty hard. I was drooling from my mouth by the time I got off the bike. Because my whole goal for the sprint was I'm going to go out and I'm going to pound the bike, and whatever happens, happens, right? Because I was trying to get some new bike numbers, and I figured that would be a good way to do it. So I went out and I really worked hard. And John said when he saw me running out of transition, he was like, "Oh, that doesn't look right." Because I was all like, "Wow." It did take me, the run's a 5K, and it took me the entire first half of it to be where are my legs? What is happening down there? They just felt like they weren't moving right, but I worked it out. It was good. It was fun though.
What's it like going fast again?
I like it more than I thought I would. It's been different for me because I'm keeping my workouts really short. This is just part of what I'm doing to try to get myself back to 100% healthy again, So I haven't been doing a ton of super long stuff, but the short, hard stuff has been good. It's fun to feel that little snap, that little rush again. And I'm starting, I would say the last 10 days or so, I'm starting to notice things are working. But the first couple weeks I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm ever going to run fast again. I don't know. I really don't know if it's ever going to happen. But now, I mean,
and just for perspective, what's fast for you? What's like, where were you running and what are you running now?
You mean like when I first came back from my break? Yeah. So, I mean, training.
Yeah. Maybe like what you usually run, like you've been training at, and
yeah,
now what are you training at?
When I was training for the hundreds and like even like the double, I mean, I'd go out, a long run would easily be in like the high 9s and 10s, you know, in terms of per mile pace. Now I'm back into the 8s. So it's nice to see the 8s again.
Good.
I think the best running I ever did was Vince, the run up into Coeur d'Alene. I mean, that year, my run was, it's like every time I went out, it was like I was light as a feather. It was great. So I'm hoping to kind of rekindle some of that again. I'm signed up for Philly Marathon the end of November. So yeah. So we'll see.
I've done that before. That was fun.
Yeah, I did that I did that in 2009. So it's a fun one. So we'll see.
Is it a big city marathon?
It is. It's getting bigger. When I did it, they had the half and the full on the same day, and now they've separated them out, but now they're selling them pretty much to the same amount on both days. So, I mean, I think it's like, I guess like 15,000, something like that. I think that's about what it was when they had the half and the full together. So it's not like as big as Boston or New York, but I mean, it's big. It's not, you know.
Yeah, 15,000 is a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what it is.
I remember running through crowds. I remember you have to.
Yeah, there's a lot of crowds.
It's a long way before it opens up. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the spectators I remember being pretty fun on that course. Like especially when you're running down like South Street, there was like a ton of people on both sides. That was pretty fun.
Great.
But yeah, I'm a little nervous, you know, because straight marathons really hurt. That's what I remember about them. They're like crazy painful. And you're sore. You're sore.
I did that one in Napa, and obviously I didn't run as fast as I've run my fast marathon, but it wasn't the same. Like my legs are, and I'm sure yours are too, like your legs are just so strong at this point. You don't get that kind of damage like your legs. My legs weren't on fire at the end.
Good to know. I've actually, like even what you're saying, I've even noticed it in some of like the tempo running I've been doing and like marathon pace running I've been doing. I feel very strong, but it's like my legs don't always, I can't get my legs to go that fast. So it's kind of like this muscle memory thing, and like I said, in the last 10 days, I can feel them starting to be like, oh, right. I get it. This is how we do it, you know? So I think you're right, Vince. I definitely feel a lot stronger. So we'll see how it goes. It's not like it's the end of the world either way. This is just kind of something fun to do.
I'm interested because I feel like if I can get back the speed that I had a few years ago, I think I can break through that. I think I can actually be faster than I was.
I think so, yeah.
But I don't know. But you're right. Like the thing that seemed to be an obstacle for me was that my legs were like, I don't know how to move this fast. And they were just like, I was going as fast as they could go. And I'm like, I got more like in my head and in my heart, you know, I got more, but my legs were like, this is, you know, I'm giving it all I can, Captain, you know?
Exactly.
So, well, Matt, Brandon, who else is doing it? Oh, another athlete that I coach that is like unknown. We're all doing CIM in December, and we're gonna do the Lake Merritt series, which is like these little cheapy 5K, 10K races. Fun. So I think that'll make my legs go faster.
Are we doing that this weekend?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I have no idea whether I'm gonna run like a 20-minute 5K or a 25-minute 5K, but I got race flats. I'm ready to go.
What could go wrong?
I know. What could possibly go wrong?
To show his little singlet, you know, all cross country on us. All right.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna go with my little running. I'm just gonna wear running clothes. I think.
Oh, by the way, Maria, did you show up in like a full-on camel pack and everything for the sprint? Your
I did
ultrarunning
not.
gear?
I did not, but I really didn't need to put anything on my bike. I had like water, and I'm like, well, who can drink water when you can't even swallow and breathe? Like, what's the point of this? So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like changing that mindset of like, I don't need like to be a mule, you know, with all this crap on me. So, but
4,000 calories to survive a sprint.
Well, it was funny. In the morning, I was grabbing my calories, and John's like, what kind of race are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, I need my 800 calories of perpetual.
She's got a bento box.
I didn't. I just had
Did you even have time to pee on the bike? I mean, it's a sprint.
Yeah, it was an hour. I was done in an hour, so no. There was no need to pee.
Wetsuit or no wetsuit?
No wetsuit.
Was that a question? Did you have to think about that?
I did. I couldn't remember. I'm like,
I was so sure you couldn't remember.
I think I did actually wear my speed suit. I did put that on. So for the quarter mile, I'm sure it gave me like an extra 2 seconds. But honestly, I missed third place by 8 seconds.
Oh, they should not be happy about that.
I missed first place. I missed first place by 36 seconds. The top 5, we were all within a minute of each other. But the way the waves were, the woman that won was actually behind me because she was in the wave behind me. So I was actually second person across the finish line. But because of the waves, I wound up, there was 2 women that were behind me in a different wave. So I didn't know that they were ahead of me. Because if I had seen somebody 8 seconds ahead of me, there would have been some business. Although I was, honestly, the picture of me, like, steps from the finish line, I'm pretty sure I was giving it all I could, Captain. Like, that was it. I looked miserable. I was like, oh, my God, this is horrible. But it was fun. I actually did have a lot of fun. So it was nice to be done in an hour.
Yeah.
All right, Vince.
I was going to segue straight into as opposed to the 28 and a half hours for Pine to Palm.
Oh, God. Seriously, dude.
Kill me now.
Tell us about it.
Speaking of needing a camel pack.
I just think, I mean, in a nutshell, I just think that I wasn't ready to race yet. And like, even before I started the race, I was just not, I didn't feel ready. But I didn't think I was going to die. and a little part of me did.
Before you start, you ran, how far, you ran Tahoe Rim Trail, how close to this race?
Like 8 weeks. Like 8 weeks?
In 8 weeks. 2 100s in 8 weeks, and that was a little too close?
I think so. I think Tahoe Rim was a really good race for me, and I don't feel like I could shake the recovery, and I was trying to get one really solid weekend in before Pine to Palm, and I just felt like I was still recovering, and then a couple weeks out, I felt like I got it together, and I didn't feel like that was a problem, but it just didn't feel right. And but my rule is you start the race, you got to finish the race, and I fucking hate myself for that rule, but but it was weird. I mean, like, I had some things go wrong that have never gone wrong. Like, I couldn't stay awake, and I was definitely caffeinated, but I just felt like I wanted to sleep, and like at mile 80, there was like 15. Maybe it's 10 miles, or I can't remember what it was, but it just seemed like it was a long way to go. Actually, if it was at mile 80, it would have been like 5 miles to go. But it just seemed like such a long way to go without aid or whatever. And I was like, I didn't feel... there weren't a lot of people in the race. People were dropping pretty hard. And it just seemed kind of lonely out there, and I didn't really feel like I wanted to be out there by myself while I was uneasy, and I was freezing my ass. That was the other thing. I was like, I kept trying to motor down. Like, at the end of a race, when you stop, you start chilling down or whatever. This was like happening to me while I was in the race. So I stopped at the aid station. I was like, the guy's like, you want to take a nap? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I grabbed this blanket and I sat in his chair and I just took a nap. I was like, fuck it. I mean, there were no records being broken at this point, and I was just kind of hunting for sunrise at that point. And then sunrise came up, and and I started warming up. I started waking up, and then there was like this really long descent, and I had my legs back, and like the beginning of it was like really technical and steep, and I was just bombing down it, like and like totally in control. I felt great, and I ran that way all the way to the finish, but like just never really felt kind of like on my game. But Tahoe Rim was awesome. Like everything that went wrong last year was righted this year. Awesome. I was like at mile 70, and there's this really technical kind of downhill loop, and I like bombed the shit out of that. And in that 7 mile loop, passed like 38 people. So I just figured that I wasn't ready to race, and I'll not make that mistake again.
Awesome.
Well, we got a shout out to you. Got 25th overall at
yeah.
Rim.
Yeah, and a much bigger race, much harder race, I think. Pine to Palm has a lot of uphill, but it was like when I felt like I was on my game, and it would come and go. Like you just 100 is so long, and like you just kind of wait. Like, okay, I feel like shit, I'm miserable, and then all of a sudden you feel great. And I was like on this kind of uphill section, and everybody was walking. I was like, I feel good, and I just started running, But then 2 miles later, I'm like, and it was just, I don't know. I mean, it's wacky. Like I felt like when I was doing Ironman, like it was very cookie cutter. Like I had this shit dialed down completely, and like after a certain point, like my races were just kind of clockwork. 100, I don't feel like I'm there yet, which is good. I mean, I like it. I definitely think it's an interesting problem, and I'm trying to like crack that nut still. So.
It seems to me that I'm not sure 100 is ever going to be as cookie cutter as an Ironman. I mean, you'll get more experience and you'll know how to adapt to certain things. But it seems to me it's because it's such a long race and the terrain for each race can be so drastically different. It just doesn't seem like something that's ever going to be cookie cutter. And when I listen to podcasts and people that have done so many of them, it's like super experienced dudes are like, that came out of nowhere. It's just, which I think makes it fun. That's what I like about it. I think it's pretty cool like that. It's a pretty exciting thing.
Well, and that was the thing that I didn't like about Ironman. It was like I got to a point where I was like, I'm going to finish between this 10-minute window, and I could pretty much like dial right into that. And I do like the challenge of this. Like it did come out of nowhere. I didn't underestimate it. People were saying it was going to be really hard, and they were saying it was going to be harder than Tahoe Rim. And I looked at the elevation and was thinking, well, elevation was my biggest issue at Tahoe Rim, not game. Mm-hmm. And while suffering through this thing, I was looking at the hills going, it was funny too, because like the elevation profile says, there's this 5 mile climb and it levels out, a 5 mile climb and it levels out, and another 5 mile climb. It was not like that. It was a 15 mile climb, and I was like, well, it's supposed to flatten out. Guess it's not, and you could tell it wasn't, because you could see the lights going all the way up there, and it's like, this doesn't level out. And then like one of those aid stations, it was fucking haunting because they were up on the top of this giant hill. I think it was, I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, they had these speakers like that were blasting music down, and I was like, the aid station's just right around the corner. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. And it was like 5-6 miles, and now I was like, come on, I want this aid station. Mm-hmm. But it never, like, there was nothing in my like devastated state. I never felt like the course was as hard as like things that I had done. And like in my misery, I never felt like it was harder than my hardest race, So it was completely manageable. I just wish I was on my game, because I think I could have really done well. But I don't really have a desire to go back. I didn't think it was. There's so many races to see that I think are so cool, and this was okay by comparison. So I don't like feel the need to go back and kind of like write that like I did with Tahoe Rim. So. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, nice. Matt, same day.
What'd you do, Matt? How'd it go?
Matt did an Ironman.
Ironman, Wisconsin. Finally, 10:36. Pretty solid. Yeah. That
Is
was
he cutting
an hour.
Out?
No, 4.
Time out for a sec. Did you cut out? Did he cut out for both of us?
Yeah, for a second.
Okay, start over
Yeah.
because we didn't get to let you live in your glory there. So
Okay,
Matt did Ironman Wisconsin, and he finished in what?
10:36.
Yes.
Yeah, finally. So he finally felt like was able to put together a really solid day. No big stomach issues. Ran the whole marathon. Kept it together. Jogging. Yeah, it's a solid day out there. I think there's potential for more speed, but yeah, I was pretty happy with them.
And did it without electronics.
And I had no watch. First time I've ran without a watch in a long time. It died in transition, and I was like, okay. So I ran blind, and that was kind of freeing, actually.
I was going to say, do you think that was better for you or worse?
No, I don't have enough experience. It feels I really run to heart rate. I like to see a number because I'm not sure, like, am I going to blow up or not?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have blown up quite a few times. I'm like, uh-oh. So I like to have a heart rate that I'm just like running at and know that I can hold on to this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was maybe went a little soft because I was a little afraid.
Okay.
But I think I still ran the whole thing, so I had a decent marathon time. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So PR, I'm guessing.
Yes, by 50 minutes.
50 minutes. Damn.
45 minutes.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah, it's pretty
nice.
solid. Pretty solid.
Oh yeah, pretty solid. He says.
I think
it's good.
I think it was a pretty good breakthrough. I think because he was having issues and obviously like trying to close that gap between like what's his potential and like where he was or whatever and we were kind of talking about this in advance and we've been working on this like this whole year. It's like trying to put him into situations that are like way harder and like even I was like, man, like that one workout. I was like, I don't know if you should do this. This might be just a little too much or whatever. And he's like, no, just keep piling it on. It's like trying to work out the bugs. And I think he needed something in the win category, like to really grasp onto, like build confidence or whatever. And this is awesome. This is everything. So now like from here we can really like dial him down, I think.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get to do our usual. Oh, hold on a second. Bye, John. John is going off to do an 18-mile mountain bike race. Have fun. Good luck.
Does he,
18 hours. 18 hours. I said 18 miles. It's 18 hours.
Yeah, it's like,
that's not 18-hour mountain bike.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting for him. We didn't get to do our pre-race Matt Momont therapy session, so no. I was sad about that. But you apparently didn't need it. Like maybe we were messing you up with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think pre-race I was a lot more mellow than usual. I took it all. I went up there alone. My family showed up, a few days after I sat around doing nothing by myself, which was really nice. I'm a big introvert, so I enjoy the mental free time, non-socializing. I'm all about that. So that was pretty healthy. I
actually think that's important. I mean, I'm not really introverted, but when I am at a race that I really care about, I do like to be left alone. I like to have my own space. I will not hang out at the race at all. Like, people, like I will set up my schedule so that you got to go to pack and pick up, right? So I set it up like a boom, boom, in and out, no expo, no nothing. And then typically try to do that on Thursday so that Friday I don't have to go to the race hubbub at all. And then Saturday, I mean, obviously you got to go to drop off your bike and your bags, but again, in and out, and not looking at people, not listening to them. I mean, being friendly, obviously, not like, hey, don't talk to me, but like trying not to get too caught up in all of that and having your process, and even when your family's around. I remember when I did Placid in 2013, we rented a house and we were all in the house together. And I mean, I had a lot of family. There was like 10 people. And on Saturday before the race, John got everybody out of the house. He was like, all right, we're all going for a hike. Maria's going to be alone, and I had this whole big house to myself all day long. It was great. I mean, not that I don't love my family, but it's like, I know what you're saying when you need that kind of headspace time. I think it's pretty important, and it's important to keep yourself, I don't know if you can be totally calm, but like as calm as you can get, because it's just wasted energy.
Yeah, I think the two things this year, the big, huge workout, I mean, relatively huge workouts from what I had been doing, just like all day sort of things. I mean, the 56, what was it we did? 56-mile ride, half marathon run, 56-mile ride, 5-mile run. Like those days out in the heat in California, and it just beats you up and makes some Ironman feel like pretty much another day. Like, it didn't really feel that long. It was like, okay, 10 hours.
You must have been
hours.
so happy to get back on that second bike.
Oh God, that workout was pretty rough.
You just said that out loud, and I was like, "Oh, that second bike. Oh, that would be the worst
It
part."
took like a mile and a half to get your legs back under you on that sprint. It took like 50 of those 56 miles for me to even. Actually, I don't think I ever got my legs back. You're just like, oh God.
You're just there. Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, I've done that workout before. I don't even know how effective that is really, but it makes for a really long ass day, and it is wacky. Like, you do a 13-mile run, you're like, all right, I'm over. No, I'm not. I've still got another 56 miles and another run.
It's a mental. Yeah. It's a mental.
Oh, mental.
Yeah. And that was I think that was something, because like he was having these nutrition issues, and I was trying to like figure out. Yeah. Like, let's work that out. And like I said, I think he's got that dialed in now.
Uh-huh.
I don't, and he was like, okay, so can we not do those next year because he's getting married? I don't think we need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you made the breakthrough now, Matt. You made the breakthrough now. Yeah. I mean, I think part of it too is just like kind of believing you can hit some kind of benchmark. Like, I think when I did Mont Tremblant in 2012 and we hit under 12 and I was like 11:30 something, even though that wasn't my best time, it was a very important mental time, because I don't think I really thought I could get that low. And for me, that was like, at the time, it was like a 50-minute PR. So I was like shocked to shit. But what it taught me is I can do that again. Like, I can make that happen again, and I think that that's probably pretty important. So, when I turned around and did, and even at Lake Placid the following year, to get a 6-hour bike for me there was like, I remember saying to Vince, that's not going to happen. And he's like, well, it's definitely not going to happen if you keep saying it's not going to happen. There's no way, So I think that this race for you is probably going to be pretty big dividends in terms of not just your body, but also like getting your head wrapped around like the time that's possible. So sub 10 is a doable thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've been very fortunate, and you have as well, Maria, in that, like, you might have a bad race or whatever, but then you have a good race, and that, like, okay, I can do this. Whereas if you have, this like string of bad races and you don't feel like you've ever like thrown one into the win category, that's kind of like weighing down on you. Like I know I didn't have a good race at Pine of Palm, but like I know that the next one or the one after that or the one after that's going to be fine. But if like I had like I've done 5 100s now, if I had like all 5 of them didn't work out for me, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to do another mile race.
That would be rough.
and it's hard. Like I'm like, come on, dude, you got to believe in me. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of Ironman before one stuck.
What's that?
That was number 6. That was Ironman.
Yeah. But now you're gonna have a string of freaking wins.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
I mean, and part of it too is just thinking like, sometimes, especially for like the first 2 or 3, you still don't even really get the distance. So I think it's kind of hard to, I think sometimes we put expectations on ourselves before we really even understand the distance. And so you wind up being disappointed about something, but you really shouldn't be disappointed because you're still kind of learning that space. Like for me, for Vermont 100, it took me almost a month to write the race report because I was so disappointed in the day and kind of processing what had happened. And then I thought to myself, you're disappointed because you put expectations on yourself. If you, it's your second, this is me talking to myself, right? It was only my second 100 miler. I went into it in the back of my head knowing something was wrong with me and not kind of paying attention to that. And so I think it definitely wasn't a win for me, and it definitely shook me a lot because it wasn't so much that the race was not what I wanted. It was also how bad I felt. And it wasn't even anything specific. Like my stomach, I didn't have a problem with my stomach. I wasn't, I just couldn't move. I just couldn't get myself to move. And it was a weird sensation. But all of this is to say, Matt, that even though you had some races that maybe didn't work out the way you wanted to, how much of that is because you weren't working to your potential versus you put some expectations on yourself and made yourself feel disappointed? I can't answer that for you, but I know for me sometimes my expectations steal my joy of the day, and that's not cool. You should still be happy in what you did. That's what I would say. So now you have an official win, right? You felt like you had a strong race. You had a time that you wanted. Now that will do you for the next time. I think is cool.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I think that's really going to help me. This win's going to help me on this 5K this weekend with Vince.
Yeah.
Because neither one of you are sandbag needing recovery or anything. So you might as well just go do a 5K. Sounds good. I'm sure you'll kill it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I did this 5K after we did Zion, same space between, Pine to Palm and Zion to this 5K. So I feel like I can bust out a 5K and not like destroy myself or whatever. Yeah. Although I should have made these guys do the 10K because when I did that with Brandon, I let him out. I let him out for the 5K, and then I said, "Okay, you got another 5K to go." And I lit him up too. It was great. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that on the future ones. I'm just gonna lead you out on 5K really hot, and then make you do another 5K.
That sounds fun.
I know.
I think I feel glad you divorced me, Vince. This is good.
Oh, pumpkin.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We don't live in Utah. Then just dial it down.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I've been doing those runs, and I feel good, but I don't think digging deep is something. I did a pretty solid. This is gonna sound lame, but I did a pretty like an hour and a half of yoga. Like went to a yoga class yesterday, 2 days ago. Oh man, it was like anything strengthening was so hard. I was so tired.
Your body's trashed.
Standing there. Yeah.
5K is pretty quick. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you get like when you get on the starting line? Are you like a thoroughbred, or are you just
Maria?
doing your own?
Me.
No, you.
He knows I'm not.
No, I'm
a diesel truck.
No, but I mean, like, no, Maria is a thoroughbred. Like when you're on the line and there's other people around you, like it's game on.
Oh, like that. Yeah.
No, I'm a pretty nice person.
No, see, then you might have a hard time. See, I'm not like, if I'm on a starting line, I'm like, it's game on, and I don't care. Yeah. So, but I think this 5K is short enough that I think you won't be digging that deep. Okay. But if you don't feel it, we can talk about this later. But if you don't feel it, then just go for a 5K jog, and that's okay. You'll just keep beat by me. It'll be all right. I won't give you shit. I won't give you any shit.
This is the next iteration of the fumble and the flora, Vince.
The flora. Yeah.
I can't. There is no such thing as a training race in my life. There's no such thing. When people say training race, I'm like, how do you do that? How do you just go do your workout at a race? Like, if the gun goes off and whoever's in front of me, I'm catching. I will froth at the mouth to get you. I can't do it. It's impossible.
There is no B race.
There is in the sense that you're not like trained for it, right? But I can't get to the starting line of anything and not like do the best I can on that day, which sometimes sucks, right? Like, sometimes it's not the best, but I will die trying.
I want you to prioritize all of these races that you have on your schedule. They're all A. All of them. No. There needs to be nope. They're all A.
They're all A. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I guess the way I think about that is like you have the race that you super care about, right? That's the A race, and then you have other races that are about prepping for that race. But that doesn't mean, like, if something's a B or a C, it doesn't mean that you're not going to go as hard as you can on that day. It just means you're not trained 100%. Like, I used to like to do half Ironmans before a full, but I wasn't trained for half Ironman. I was never specifically trained to do the best half Ironman ever. Because you're in the middle of an Ironman build, but you're still doing that half Ironman as hard as you can.
You might not taper. You'll do like a real short taper, or you won't. Yeah. Or you won't you won't put in proper recovery coming in. You might have like a big workout the weekend before or whatever.
Yeah.
For sure.
I wanted to talk a little bit though today about recovery, and since we're talking about all these big races and big season, I want to talk just a little bit about recovery. And for our listeners, maybe they can take something away from it. My last blog post talked about this, and I've alluded to it here a few times in this podcast, but I personally was not privileging recovery the way I should have, and I paid for it pretty hard this summer. Looking back now, like I went back and I looked at my training logs, and I kind of thought about how I felt, there was plenty of signs. I had plenty of signs. I just ignored all of them until the fatigue was so deep, right? And I just couldn't get my body to do what I wanted it to do. And I think part of it, so I know, Vince, you're really good at taking big breaks, you know, and I have not been very good at that. And so I think for me, I'm always scared I'm going to lose my fitness, right? And honestly, there's still in my mind, you know, I'm always afraid I'm going to get fat and I'm going to be that fat little kid again. And so the last couple of months have been pretty eye-opening for me to kind of examine that and open that up. And I think the point I'm trying to make for our listeners is that when you get to the end of your season, whatever that is, you need to take a deep break. And I know, like I said, Vince, I know you do this typically at the end of all your seasons. You take that month off or whatever it is. And I've never done that in the last 6 years. And that's bad. You know, that's bad. And I think I was able to string together a few years fine. And you can, you know, you can do it, but it will eventually catch up. So for everyone listening to this, as we're coming to the end of tri season, I know it's fall running season, but, you know, winter's coming. Give yourself a hard break. It's really, it doesn't mean you have to do absolutely nothing, but, you know, do some runs without the Garmin, take some breaks, sleep more, eat well. Your next 2017 will be better for it. You don't want to get yourself where I was, and because it takes a long time to dig yourself out of it. It kind of sucks. That's my PSA today, folks. That's what I want.
Well, you know, so I was hanging out with this group of people, and they had that whole no zeros mentality, which is basically like you can't miss a day without doing something. And I followed that for a while. And then, like you, I would string seasons together, and I found that, like, especially mentally, that was hard for me. So I like melted down one season. I was like, that's it. I have to stop. And then whatever the consequences are, if I'm slow and at the back of the pack, I don't care. And when I came back, it seemed like it was slow, but within like 30 days, I was like back to normal. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to take that break every year. And now I'm to the point where, like, after I race, for mental and physical reasons, I want to just not do anything. So like after the hundreds now, my general rule is, like, I'm not running for a week. And I'll try to sleep as much as I can, and I get to eat whatever I want, and I don't worry about my weight. And then I just slowly bring it back in. And, you know, Matt recovers really quick, but I have youngsters that don't recover quick. And I know people that are my age that recover quick, and I don't seem to be like getting any slower. You know, people say, oh, as you get older, your recovery takes longer. It doesn't seem to be any longer. I just don't seem to be able to, like, put it. It seemed to be like I could race again, like, after 8 weeks, and then the Pine of Palm thing was tight, and I think I probably won't do that again. Like, and I'm retooling now. Like, I would never do a race within 3 months of another one, you know, like, of that size. So that's my new rule. But I mean, I'm a huge fan. I've checked myself into the ER. I've wrecked myself so bad. Like, I would string together so much training, and I would just grind myself into the ground, and I'm like, oh my God, I have these, like, crazy ass chest pains. I should go to the hospital, you know? So yeah, but that's just how some people are, right? I mean, you know, you just keep driving and driving and driving, and you definitely need to, like, people think, oh, you're so healthy or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm fit. Yeah. I don't know about healthy.
Yeah. And I think
healthy is not going to the ER with chest pains.
Yeah. And I think the other part of this too, because, you know, Vince, I know you work a lot too, as I do. All the stress in your life is stress, and your body responds to that stress pretty much the same way in terms of the way it reacts to it. So whether that stress is coming from training, or whether that stress is coming from work or family or other life issues that create stress, when they start piling up, your body's doing the same thing, right? So if you're training hard, and then you go to work all day and you're stressed out all day, and then you're not really sleeping enough, and then you wake up the next day and you do it again, that's like double the amount of stress in terms of how your body's handling that. So I think in my case, you know, because I kept looking at my training on paper and thinking, that's not much more than I usually do. It's fine. But what I wasn't paying attention to was how my life stress was actually almost double what it used to be. And so, because of some job changes that I've been going through, and I wasn't paying attention to how that was affecting my health. And I think that that's an important point too, that stress is stress to your body. It doesn't say, oh, well, this is a bike, this is a run stress, this is work stress. Your body does the same thing to it no matter what. And after a while, you're, whether it's talking about cortisol levels, whether it's talking about, your heart rate response to things, all those kinds of things, stress is stress. So I think that when you're thinking about your training, it's not just the workouts on paper. It's not just your TSS. In other words, it's really all the things that can't be measured by metrics that are important. And at the end of the day, you have to be able to tune into your body. And I know I will not be ignoring the signs that I got ever again. And even now, if I have a workout on and I wake up and I'm like, I'm tired. Yesterday was stressful. I take a rest day now. I never used to do that. I'd be like, that will turn green or I will slit my wrists. Like, that's it.
Yeah. I'm not even like that anymore. I would rather just, I feel like the recovery is more important than anything at this point. Like, I don't need to go do another 45-minute run or whatever. Yeah. And that was the interesting thing leading. Obviously, we do this because it is a stress reliever. We use this as an outlet to kind of like calm down from life or whatever. And I had a lot of life stress coming into Pine to Palm. And one of the things that I noticed is that in the early miles of the race, I was still carrying that stress. I was actually stressing about work in the middle of a race, which is something that's never happened to me. I'm like, wow, this is really weighing on me. Yeah. And by the end of the race, and 100 is such a long time. By the end of it, I was like, I finally have like washed that away. And I was like, that was one of the reasons I was going back and forth. Like, do I want to do this race? Do I not want to do this race? I was like, if I could get out of this race, I would, like even before, like my hotel was, for some reason I booked one of those rooms that you can't cancel.
Right.
And I was going to move my hotel location, and I realized I couldn't cancel. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to do this race because I'm going to lose my $500 or whatever. I know, it's so idiotic. But by the end of it, I finally like had shed from like all of that stress. So it is therapeutic in some respects. But that was a hard way to go about it.
As you like to say, stupid should hurt.
Oh my God. And that definitely hurt.
And when it does, though, you do learn from it. You're sort of like, But
sure. Yeah, you gotta go ahead.
Yeah. The good side of all of this, though, is that if you do allow yourself to fully recover and you feel better, like I feel a spark again that I haven't honestly felt in a long time. Like maybe the last time I felt it was Louisville in 2014. Like no lie. Like the last time I felt like focused and motivated to really like want to achieve something again. And it feels really good, to be honest. It's fun. It's fun to do a workout and care about it, and really be into it. And it's not that I haven't had moments in the last 2 years where I've wanted to achieve something. I have, obviously. Javelina was a really bright spot in that. But beyond that, it's been rough. And I'm happy to feel that way again. I'm happy to feel like the predator again. It's fun.
I feel like I'm on the other. Now that I've got, like, there's nothing until next year for me as far as like ultras, and we've got CIM coming up, and I feel like, all right, cool. Now I've got I've got that opportunity to kind of like settle down and not feel the pressure of these races. They're big. I still haven't figured out like, if this is an A race, how much time do I want to give myself? And I felt like maybe I was putting them closer than maybe they should have been. And it's tough because you're like, oh, I got to get my Western States qualifier, and there's all these outside influences, and it's like, oh, I've got to manage it with like Christine's races or whatever else. So you're kind of like picking like where these things can fit into your life. Yeah. But I like that there's nothing that's daunting on my horizon. Like no matter what, I know like even if I show up at CIM untrained, that's not going to like destroy me, whereas like 100 will.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
And maybe there's something to be said about that. Like maybe I shouldn't be doing them. I don't know, but I like them.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make that jump anytime soon. I'm not that jealous. I got to go fast.
Yeah. I mean, so there's people that like keep chasing Ironman, and if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But for me, it was like, okay, I like the challenge of the puzzle You know what I mean? I like that problem solving aspect of things. I like and 100 is so freaking complicated. There's just so many components to it, and just like whittling away at them. And maybe I never get good at them. I don't know. And I might like that. But I just felt like that Ironman was, like you say, now it feels manageable. And I felt like it was completely manageable, and I wanted that next problem. And I found it. Duh.
I have one more problem I need to solve with Ironman, so we're going to try to fix that this summer.
All right. Which one are you doing? What are you signed up for?
Lake Placid.
Okay. Oh, fun.
My favorite. It's awesome. I love it.
So, what is that problem that you need to solve, Maria?
As if you don't know the problem. As if you don't know. Freaking sub 11. God damn it. It's got to happen. It makes me flipping crazy. I just got to make it happen, and then I can be done.
Oh, my God.
But also, too, like this year we went, because I go to the race every year, and this year we were going and we were spectating, and I felt like I missed it. Like I was like, I miss it. I kind of miss this. I kind of feel like I have a little bit of unfinished business, and I just want to get that sub 11, and maybe another super secret goal. But other than that I'm not sharing. But yeah, so right now we're just gonna stick it at sub 11. Anyone that knows me could probably guess the rest of it. But
yeah.
I'm not going back to Kona. That's not what this is about. So
when I was at Boulder watching the race, I was getting the itch.
Yeah.
Like I want to be in one. I just want to be in one. Like I don't even care. I like doing them. I like the swim, the bike, the run. Just kind of.
You guys know what John did, right? He did Vermont 100, and then a week later did Ironman.
Yes, duh.
He still went sub 12 hours. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh come on.
He hadn't even been riding his bike. It's crazy. He did a couple bike rides.
Run? Did he? He had to actually run it.
Yeah, he did like a sub 4 marathon.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ow.
I know.
Is he? So are you guys doing?
It took me 3 years to go sub 12. This man runs 100 miles next week. Just
but he's gone like low 9. So
well, that's true. Yeah, fair enough. True. Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure I can come off the couch and go under 12 hours. I don't. I mean, that would be like just add it. Add 2 hours to your time, right?
It was fun though.
Do you think you can go sub 13?
I don't know.
Really? I like that you had to think about that for a second.
I will. It's right. Like I said, I'm not that fast right now. I'm working on it.
Are you guys doing doubles again still?
I am gonna see how my body feels by January, and if it feels like I can put in some of that volume work again, I will. If not, I'm not gonna push it. I'm not done with the double at all by any means. It just might not happen this year because I feel like I care a little bit more about Lake Placid, and I'm not sure I want to play around with that, because the double takes a lot out of you, to say the least. And I think that's been part of the issue the last 2 years. Those doubles have really crushed me a little bit more than I realized. And then, turning around and running rim to rim and then doing a 100 miler and doing all that kind of stuff. I think it's just, I jacked a lot of things on myself. So we'll have to see. I'm going to see how my body feels. We'll see how that goes. For right now, I'm liking the shorter, faster stuff. And fast is in air quotes, everybody listening, because it's really not fast. It's just not 10-minute miles. The bike is still poopy. But I did go to a cycling clinic with USA Cycling, and I learned so much. I also learned that I am an embarrassment to cycling, but that's fine. I'm working on it.
That's okay. If you take a cyclist and throw them into an Ironman, they suck too.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I go to this clinic and they're all road cyclists, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
And they're like, oh, you're a triathlete. We don't like triathletes.
No, they weren't. Actually, no, the people were super cool. They were super cool. It was just, let's just say I know how to ride my bike in a straight line. I rocked the straight line drills, killed them, crushed them.
Yeah, how about cornering?
But we did some cornering. That was different. We did some serpentine drills. That was definitely not my skill set. Not
On
at
the
all.
grass? Did you do them on the grass?
We did some grass drills. And I mean, it was a road cycling clinic, so we also did like drills for like riding in a Peloton, which was like, I don't even ride for people. Like we had to like touch wheels and stuff. I was like, yeah. Ew, I don't like that.
Those guys, like the idea
they're nuts, though. They're freaking
of being
crazy.
in the middle of a Peloton where there's like 4 people on either side of you, and and 20 deep, and there's no way in hell I would want to be in the middle of that. Like,
yeah, well, we had to do that. We did 8 people across, and you had to put your right hand on the other person's shoulder, and we had to like turn corners and stuff together. I was like, I am so far out of my comfort zone. I can't even.
Dude, you're like a Blue Angel. You're like doing Blue Angel shit. You're like Top Gun.
Oh, it was so nerve-wracking. But I really learned a lot. And as a consequence, I think I've learned quite a few things to work on that will certainly help me in triathlon. Some of it is unnecessary for triathlon, but that's it's fine. But some of it I think will be super helpful. But I also learned that triathlon is not super technical at all when it comes to
no.
Like the shit they were doing. I looked at the one coach one time and I was like, I can't do that. I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. That's not gonna. You can't make me. He's like, they made me try everything though. I wound up having to do everything, even when I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to touch his wheel. Why are we doing? I don't have to do that. He's like, yes, you do. No, I don't. But it was a great experience.
Just touch it.
It was so nerve-wracking. Oh my God. Oh, it was so nerve-wracking. We had to pick things up off the ground, which was actually, that was like a good skill. I was like, I'm never going to be able to do this. And when I did it, I was so excited. I like threw it up in the air. And I was like, I did it. And I took my hands off the wheel. We were on the field and I fell. It was great. I'm so excited.
Do you have a road bike?
I do have a road bike. They wouldn't let you do it without a road. You weren't allowed to bring a TT bike.
I don't have a road bike.
I have a road bike.
Huh.
I do. Yeah.
All right.
But that was fun. So I highly recommend that kind of thing. It was a USA cycling clinic. It was really, it was good. So anyone looking for that kind of thing, it was good. It was worth my time.
This was the Yanking Chains therapy session. We'll have a real podcast for you next month. That's all this was about. It was like therapy.
Yeah.
Great.
This is really just about the 3 of us
talking.
talking.
My favorite episode.
Therapy and a USA Cycling Clinic push. This episode of Yanking Chains brought to you by USA Cycling.
They're not going to want to be associated with a bunch of triathletes.
I know.
They're going to not appreciate that endorsement.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been listening to episode 18 of Yanking Chains. We'll be back in 2 weeks, guys, right?
Sounds good. Good
Where's
luck
the sound
to us.
effects?
Oh,
There's like this little thing down on the bottom where you can...
yeah, you can put things on your head.
No.